Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you for signing in. I'm grateful. My name is Steve Lentini, and this is the Best Getting Better every Thursday. I've been coaching and training salespeople. I've been involved with salespeople since 1975, 40 years. 41 this fall, September. And so I'm teaching out of the upcoming book, Sales Success for the Rookie, How to Succeed at Sales Right from the Start. And everyone gets some ideas from the book. I have also the Sales Success for the Seasoned Sales Veteran, How to Stay at Peak Performance. That's available. Again, you can email me. My number is 917-805-1088, 917-805-1088. I also have a book called Imagine that I'm a contributing author to, 30 Days to a New You, Imagine 30 Days to a New You. And I'm grateful to be able to help people and coach people. And I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of salespeople. When you count all the companies, it probably is well over 1,000. I think I could say easily thousands of people. I'd rather be conservative and say I'm glad to be helping the people that I'm helping this year and right now, and that number's about 50. And so I'm going to start with this evening with a few stories. And first I want to finish introducing myself. Again, 40 years, owned my own distribution company, worked for my family business, owned my own distribution company, owned retail stores for 15 years, and then bought the license for a sales training company, Sandler Sales Institute, a good system, a good company. And then I had a major health challenge, was in the hospital, 100 days out of work, 6 months. This was in 2002. And I decided to write my own program when I got out. And I did. I honored the non-compete. And in 2005, I started conducting universal sales training and writing and using my own work. And so let me talk to you about some amazing sales that I made by understanding being in my body and being grounded and being mindful and really being present. I was able to challenge people with some ideas they had that brought me $1 million sales. And that's happened 3, 4, 5 times in my lifetime. I just helped a company last year get a $1.5 million client that other people were working on trying to get. They had a very big office supply firm that was easy supplying them, and that supply firm did a horrible job. So if they want to call me, I'll help train them. It wasn't so easy when they lost this customer, and literally the bridge was burned forever. And you know, when you start burning bridges with 1.4 million annually, an annual spend customers, it's not a good thing. It means that their operation's out of control. They could really use some work. So send them my name if you know anybody at the this big office supply company. So anyway, what I did in those sales and in all those sales was to create space for people to have their own beliefs and not start talking what I call verbal diarrhea, throwing up on them about how great my company was, how great, what a great job we could do for them. In fact, when they told me they couldn't buy from me, I said, fine. Why? In one case, I said, how do you know I'd sell you? Which shocked the guy. And when they told me why we couldn't be considered, it seemed very reasonable. So, and I said, fine, seems fair. I don't know if I would buy from us under those conditions. Eventually, in all 3 instances, the customers came back to me. In one case, after having let them go, it was after a month. Another case, it was a few weeks. Hey, that idea you threw out to me, I didn't hear that from any of my existing suppliers. Really? Okay. I'm glad to help you. And then I said, you know, I gave them what I told them I would give them. for help. And then I said, I need a favor. I mean, I'd like one. Could you help me? Sure. Would you put me on the list of consideration? Yes. And I won. And that was close to $1 million. Probably was over a million, but I don't remember. I know it was over 750,000 a year. Then the next situation was 4 to 6 weeks. Again, they called back, said, Steve, can we talk to you about your idea that you gave us when you let us go? By the way, that's I left them with, hey, if you don't hear this from anyone, partnership, I called it. You need a partner. Call me. And they said, oh, can you give us that idea now? Aren't you bringing in? They had 16 suppliers. They were going to one. Aren't you bringing everyone in? Yes. Okay. You're going to hear it from one of them. I have to believe you will. If you don't, call me. Not one of them knew how to draw the client in. What they did was, because I asked, I said, what did they all do? You interviewed 16 people and none of them had my idea about partnership. No, Steve, all they did was talk about how great they were. Yada, 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 yada. Are you out there? Huh? Getting so excited. You get in front of somebody and you just blab on them. It works sometimes. It doesn't work every time. So you have to be open enough to grow and learn and listen to new ideas. So I read hundreds of books. If I could scan the camera and show you the room, I read lots of books. And I'm in business helping all of you salespeople. So I read a lot of books. I say that I'm the Cliff Notes, right? So I read things like The Challenger Sale. And here's one on my desk that I'm studying now, Jeffrey Gitomer's very little but very powerful book on closing. He's got some great ideas. I always recommend Jeffrey Gitomer. Here's the thing. Not all my clients can read all this information. I can read. I'm blessed with very quick reading. I can decipher the main thought on a page. I highlight it. I put a sticky on it. I come back to it, and I write the cliff notes of what's important in all these systems. The Challenger Sale, Jeffrey Thull, the Mastering the Complex Sale, the Miller-Hyman system, the Spin system, Neil Rackham. They're all good stuff. It's all good stuff. The Sandler system. I was a licensee for over 5 years. All good stuff. It's not one system is going to be the system in communication, because people miss things. They get overwhelmed with all these systems, and then they want to remember it in the middle of a sale. It's crazy. What I teach people is, listen, take it in, put it in your toolbox. Here's the best of the best getting better. And then be mindful and be in your body and trust your knowledge, trust your enthusiasm and your passion for your product. By the way, if you don't have passion for your product, get out of it. Get out. You have to have a passion, and it has to be your purpose in life. So my purpose is to help people wake up to the idea that life is all a miracle, all divine, and they can take that everywhere with them. And so I can bring that everywhere I go. And yes, I use that purpose everywhere I go, in sales training, in wake-up classes that I teach, in customer service training that I give, in the millennial mindset program that I conduct, in the complaint-free zone program that I conduct. I bring that everywhere I go, and it's just amazing what happens. Doors unfold and open for me. I'm blessed and I'm grateful because I understand I'm living in a miracle, and I trust that. And not 100%, I confess there's days I don't. And mostly, yes, I do. And so what happens is doors open. And so, by the way, I was doing that years and years ago before I was teaching it and writing about it. And Harvard University is the one I'm talking about now, who came back to me and said, Steve, what's your idea? Can you come talk to us about partnership? I said, yes. Linda was a woman, smart and bright woman that ran the facility. And I said, yes. And would you do me a favor? She said, sure. I said, would you put me on the list of the 16? It's breathing and being present. In fact, that day I said to her, Linda, since I'm not going to be in consideration, which I totally understand, would you mind telling me what you're looking for? Tell me the whole story. And she said, 45 minutes to an hour. She told me everything. That's when I said, from what you're telling me, you need a partner. You need a partnership. And she said, that's when she said to you, Would you share that with me now? I said, don't you have 16 people coming in? It's an amazing story because I won the business. So I get there, I'm one of 16. It's now 17, right? It's now 17, including me. And I'd never done $1 with them. And all these other people had done lots of dollars over, some of them 35 years, 30 years, 20 years. They all had a story to tell about how long they were there, how great they were, what their products were. It didn't matter. In the end, it didn't matter. What mattered was my idea that challenged them. It expanded their thinking, right? So they had a limited view of what was right product, buy them cheap enough, that was their idea. My idea was, no, you need a partner to help you deal with each situation differently. And we can guide you and consult you because we deal with our customers. And we have customers like you that need this advice. And we want it. We want it. It's still an amazing thing. When I think back, that I let it go and they called me back 4 to 6 weeks later. I had forgotten about it because I figured they got the answer from somebody. But that's called detaching from outcomes. Most people wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. They're afraid. They're afraid. They're little like acorns. They're afraid. Oh, I won't survive. I can't let this go. This is big. It could be $1 million. It was more than $1 million. Oh, I can't let this go. That's little acorn thinking, right? So here's an acorn. That's an acorn, right? Potentially it could be an oak. We know because we've seen the oak, right? We've seen the oak. This little nutshell is all of us from somewhere. We think we're complete. Every human has places where we think we're complete. We're not willing to listen. We don't want to take coaching. We don't want to take advice. We don't want to learn. We don't want to grow. Sometimes it's because of a lack of education and they're afraid of training. You're like, I don't know what that means. It threatens them, I guess, right? And that means they've plateaued. They can't grow. They're never going to grow. They have one idea. They bring it everywhere. One idea, right? I'm an acorn. That could be the one idea. Look what they're missing. The possibility, the potential of becoming an oak. And the potential is limitless because look at how many acorns the oak produces. What does the acorn produce if it never gets in the ground? If it's never willing to be broken open? Nothing. Not even anymore. Nothing more comes out of here. This one's sitting on my desk. All right, I promise I'll go plant it. So here's the thing. I was following a system even though I didn't know I was following a system. What I was doing was connecting with people, detaching from outcomes. I was listening intently. Hearing their story, so I was with them, making a connection that's called relationship. I was bonding. I provided pressure release because I said, let's figure out if this is a fit. And in those 2 calls, both of them, one said, hey, I could never buy from you. And I said, how do you know I'd sell you? And that stunned him. And then when we talked later, I provided pressure release by saying, all right, so why is it you said you couldn't buy from me? And he told me. And previously, when he said to me, how come you said you could never sell us? I said, well, do you sell everyone? He said, no. I said, why not? And he told me, I said, there you go. That's all the reasons I might not be able to sell you, right? I don't know you. I don't know what makes you tick. Will you be profitable? Maybe you're happy with your existing suppliers. You're only looking for a price. I don't want to do that. I'm not giving you a price, right? Unless you tell me why you're looking. Why do you need a price? Are you really upset? Are you in pain? Contract cleaners and paper distributors and supply distributors, plumbing, electrical, they all do this. Like, give me your price. Tell me what you're paying. I'll beat your price. That's not selling. The next guy that comes in and says, what's your price? I'll beat your price. You're gone. Or the guy's coming back to you saying, hey, can you go even a little lower? I got a better deal. You're making that guy a hero. Why bother? Why bother? Now, it sounds scary, but you have to learn how to do it. It's detaching from outcomes. I never upset anybody. I say, geez, I don't work that way. I mean, glad to share with you how I work. I don't work that way. Can we talk about it? Sure, most people are willing. All right, so I provide pressure release and pressure relief by saying, giving them space for wherever they're thinking. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. That's great. No problem. I'm not a fit with everybody. If it's someone who invited me in a lot of, here's how I work. After I do some, get to know that they got in the position, how long they've been with the company, how'd they get to the company, how'd they start the company, if they own it. So then I tell them I have an agenda because I prepared for the call. Thank you for allowing me in, and I got an agenda. Here's what it looks like. My goal is to ask you some questions, help us together figure out if we're a fit to do business. And here's my agenda. Sometimes I have a typed version. I give it to them and say, is there anything you want to add to that? Take a look. Take a minute. Does it look good to you? If you were me, where would you start? What's number one for you on that list? Wow, right? You want to know what's number one? I might even say, why'd you pick that? That's my first question. Why is that number one for you? Okay. And then I say, if there at any point, if I'm making a call like that, is there at any point in the call, if you're feeling like we're not a fit, like you're feeling like I'm not going to be able to help you, no, please, would you let me know? It's okay. And on the other hand, I'll do the same for you. If I feel like we're not a fit, I'll let you know. Then I used to, so the 70-30 rule to me is I'm going to listen 70%. I'm only going to speak 30%. So I have to have questions prepared. And so do you prepare ahead of time? Do you have an agenda? Do you understand about detaching from outcomes? Detaching from outcomes is you don't go there with the idea that you're going to sell to people. You go there with the idea that you might, because maybe they're not a fit and you want to understand it. That's what you go there with, understanding if they're a fit. And then you have questions and you have third-party stories prepared, right? So third-party stories. That's where you help someone like them after you hear, right? You hear the story, you hear the pain. People say now that I shave my head, my ears are bigger. I guess it was just that my hair was poofing up. I don't think my ears got bigger. Anyway, I digress. We're bonding. What I want to know is from them, give them the space to tell their story and what they're looking for. Understanding all the training I've had, sometimes I use the challenge question, the challenger sale. I'll hear something in my questioning, like I'll say, okay, so what have you thought about in terms of solution? Have you looked at other people yet? Like that. Okay, again, it's questioning. And they tell me something, oh yeah, we've looked at this, and we like this one so far. Okay, so let me tell you a third-party story I have. Do you mind? I'll share a story. Everybody likes to hear a story. So I've got a story. If it's real, by the way, I'm not just trying to sell them something. If I got a story that says, I had a customer a month and a half ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, told me the exact same thing, and they liked one of two things that they had seen, and they were leaning heavily toward that solution. And then I said, from what I understand, I think that you really need to look at something else. You mind if I share with you what it is? And I shared it with him. And I said, here's my story. So I have a customer who did the same thing, looked just like you, went through the same process, was leaning toward X. And they actually did it. They bought X. And here's what happened. And I have their name. You can phone them. And they ended up coming back to me. After they bought X, they called me and said, Steve, we need you. We need you. We need you. And how easy was it for me to make that sale when they came back to me? Now, I don't propose that you let everybody go, and some are going to, and so you got to detach from outcomes. You have to be there to figure out where they're at and whether they're a fit or not. Your questions should include, how about change, right? So the last time they made a change like this, what did it look like? How many people were involved? Who helped them make the decision? How did it work out? How painful was it? What are things they'd like to avoid this time? What have they talked about the future when they make this change? What's the future going to look like? What if they didn't make the change? What if they stay right where they're at? What would happen? You want to hear people say, no, I can't stay where I'm at. Why? Talk to me about that. Well, if I don't make this change, right now it's costing me $50,000 a year to stay like this. Why is that? Okay, because I'm doing this, this, and this. This is what it's costing me. I'm looking to avoid that, to minimize that cost, maybe cut that cost in half. See, you're getting pain. Maybe that if they stay with where they're at, maybe they're the one who brought it in. Maybe they lose their job. How about that? So you need to know that. Now you want to determine the budget. Now, if the other person said, "Hey, I want to save. It's costing me 50 grand a year to do this, and I want to at least reduce that. What if I could reduce it by half? What if I could only reduce it by 10%, 5,000 a year? Would you invest in a solution?" Some people say, "We'll never share the budget." Okay, so what if I said it was going to be between 75 and 150,000? Are you in that range somewhere? Are you in that ballpark? Is it closer to 75 or closer to 150? You know what people say. Well, it's in the middle, Steve. Now I got a range. I got 100 grand, 75 to 100. They'll go 110, 125 if they know they're going to get the benefit of it. The benefit of it. So then you ask about the decision. Who are you going to bring in to help you with the decision? Are you making this decision yourself, or are you bringing in other people? That's a stroke. You could even say, I'm assuming you're making this decision yourself, and or, are you bringing in other people? How are you running? How are you handling the decision? Because they might say to you, oh, no, I'm not making the decision. I'm gathering all the information. Oh, okay. Then what happens? Who comes in? Oh, Mary and Sal. All right. So when do I meet Mary and Sal? Are they here today? Get an understanding for what the decision process looks like. Now, if there's multiple people in the decision, they're going to bring them in later. You want to meet them before you present. So, hey, the way I like to do things, what our process is, what our company likes to do, is get everybody together to make sure we're all on the same page about the pain and the cost and making this change, and get everybody's ideas out on the table, and then we present our ideas. How do you feel about that? And then you close. But if you've done a good job questioning, you can see everybody in the room is on the same page as you. There's a consensus. You can feel it. Hey, what do we do next, everyone? If you have to, you can say on a scale of 0 to 10, if 8 was, we move to the next step, where are you all? If they say 5, you just have to help them. Okay, 5, I get it. I'm missing something. What do you need to hear to get to 8? Help them understand your process better. You've missed something. You got to go back a little bit. But 5 is good news. 7 or 8 is better. 5 is good news. They say 3, you really dropped the ball. It's not over. You can say, wow, I really dropped the ball. I missed something. Talk to me about what I missed. Is it over? You can even say, is it over? If it's over, you can say, all right, so where did I miss it? If they say, yes, it's over, we're sorry. Okay, before we go, where did I miss it? Help me learn, help me understand. Then they tell you, all right, we do have a solution there. Is there any chance we can reopen this? But if they want to let it go, let it go. Let it go. Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize, I missed it. We do have that. And if you cannot get what you're looking for as you move forward, if you're nervous or afraid, you want to come back to me, I'm open. Call me back. Again, I apologize. If you do close, if they say, yeah, we want to move to the next step, okay. Is that a PO? You want me to invoice? What are you looking for? They tell you. Then you say, hey, before we do the PO, before I accept this, you push it back a little bit. Any other questions? Deposit check. I push back deposit checks. You sure you want to do this? Yes. Okay. We do it. That's how it works. You take the check. Now, some people, you push it back and they go, well, we should probably think about this. All right, so talk to me about that. Where are your fears and concerns? And typically you end up getting the check back, but sometimes you don't. And that's a good thing, because what happens is you find out now instead of Monday morning. They think about it over the weekend, or they think about it 48 hours. You find out now. That's a good thing. You can't manage what you don't measure, so keep measuring what you do close against what you don't. And keep your goal to close, reduce the number of presentations. I've gone into companies where they had huge pull-out file draws of presentations. And I said, "Where's the closing draw?" "Oh, it's down below." And the folder was this big. That was the close ratio to the presentation. What if you reduced the presentation files because you got more productive? What it tells me, you have that many draws of open presentations that didn't close. Effectively up front, you didn't do the work. You didn't push people away. And I don't mean the way, you're not insulting them or upsetting them. You always are leaving the door open. And that's for another day, for another time. And it's for me to do this in a half an hour for $25. You're not getting the whole system, of course. What you're getting is valuable stuff you can use. I know you got stuff tonight that you can use. I know. Can you just hit the chat and I'll answer. Again, I'm Steve Lentini. I'm grateful for your attendance. Gratitude, I think, really opens up everyone to not struggle. You shouldn't be struggling. If you're feeling frustration and struggle, you need to surrender and to have gratitude. Write 5 things tomorrow morning you're grateful for in your life. And at night, write 5 things. Or call a friend and say, "Hey, can I talk to you about what I'm grateful for? And could we do some affirmations and intentions?" Do something different. Break out of the mold. And once you teach yourself that you live in a universe, it's an amazing gift, by the way. Amazing gift. So you live in something infinite, right? This contains everything for a oak tree, right? Oak tree that over its lifetime makes millions of these, right? And if it doesn't get broken open, there's a crack here for me. Well, it's a line actually in the acorn, but it's good enough to look like a crack. You need to break open and allow something new in, the nutrients, the water, the earth, the nutrients, so that you can grow roots and sprout into an oak tree, right? Most people are stuck in here somewhere. Yeah, it's called the limited perspective, I call it. The limitless perspective is becoming the oak and going through all the high winds, and maybe a deer eats some of the sprout, but eventually it becomes an oak tree. There's a process, right? You're not going to be an oak overnight. It's impossible. It doesn't happen, right? You wouldn't put this in the ground and then shout, "Give me an oak tree." You understand there's a process. So wherever you are, if you're challenged and you're struggling a little bit, know that you're creating it somewhere in your thinking. I can help you if you call me. I'll straighten your words out and your thinking out. And in no time, you'll have a different life. It has to be. As you change your thinking and you change your speaking, you'll have a different life. You will, though. I'm just the catalyst. So if you feel motivated to pick up the phone and call me, it's 917-805-1088. 917-805-1088. It's what I do. I'm glad to do it. Call me. I'll help you. You'll describe where you're at, and I'll know what to do. And then you do it. I only suggest it. So as we come to a close here, remember that you are creating your world, and you have put out what you've put out, cause and effect. What you've put out has gotten you back what you're getting back. And that's, if you're happy and it's working, you're putting out good, positive vibes. You should be silently blessing all the prospects you meet. You should be wishing them joy, success, and happiness. Deepak Chopra, if you've ever studied Deepak Chopra, he talks about you wouldn't go to someone's house who's inviting you to dinner without a gift. It's the same when you're in the presence of anyone. Bless them silently. Wish them, you can bring them the gift of wishing them joy, peace, success, and happiness. What a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful energy. It's putting out, like knocking. The more you put out good, the more good you'll get back. And then When you change, things change, right? You can't keep doing this and expect something new. You have to change. The minute you put out something new comes back. It's not just in sound. You say, Steve, well, knocking. What's knocking have to do with success? Changing has to do with success. Grasshopper. Changing has to do with success. And wherever you're at, let's say you've had a number of failures and you're beating yourself up over that. Failure is the stepping stone. They are the stepping stones to success. So it's about learning. Thomas Edison said he didn't fail. He only learned 999 ways not to make a light bulb. Can you imagine? What a great attitude he had. He learned 999 ways not to make a light bulb. He kept going no matter what. That's what you all need to do, is keep going. So to get a hold of me, my email is steve@stevelentini.com. I'm going to spell it for you. Steve, S-T-E-V-E, at STEVELENTINI.com. Steve@stevelentini.com. And again, my phone number is 917-805-1088. I bless you all. Thank you, and I'm grateful, and see you next Thursday.